eyes on you.
Hey guys, so today I have this lace mask tutorial for you guys. I'm starting off with my face completely done with foundation and concealer, and I'm going into my Naked Ultimate Basics palette and taking this dark color and this taupe color and popping that into my crease super messily on a Sigma E25. I'm going to have all the products that I have on my face listed down below with the exact shades, so check that out in the info box if you are interested. So to warm it up, I'm taking this orange bright shade and I'm popping that into my crease and really just taking the time to blend this all the way up to my brow bone. It doesn't need to be super precise. I was going for a little bit more of a grungy, smoked out look because I wanted to kind of contrast the feminine lace mask. So I'm just going in and intensifying it, and then I'm taking this Sigma E40 brush and just blending it out so it doesn't look patchy. But then I'm going back in and adding some more intensity to where I feel like I needed it. Next, I'm going in with this Sigma E55 flat shader brush and taking the lightest two shades and popping that onto my lids. But then I'm going to go back in with a more purple taupey shade combo, and I'm going to pop that onto my lids just to deepen it up a little bit so it's not as stark. And then I'm taking the same E25 brush and running that really warm orange shade underneath my eyes. And then I'm just blending everything out. Again, I wanted it to be kind of messy, so I'm blending it beyond my brow bone and also kind of near my nose on the inner corner. Now I'm going in with this NYX Micro Brow Pencil in Ash Brown, and I'm just pretty basically filling in my brows. I don't want to do anything too intense because they are going to get covered by the lace mask, but I'm just filling in sparse areas and then brushing them out. And then I wanted to bring the color kind of to my hairline, so I'm just doing that here. So this is where I started to sketch out my shape. I wanted to leave this in there even though this is definitely not what my final product looked like, because I wanted to show you guys realistically what it took to do this mask. I am using the same NYX brow pencil just because it was really easy to just smudge and wipe away any mistakes, but I started out by sketching the general shape that I thought I wanted, and I realized that it started looking like a Batman mask, so I nixed it and I decided to go with a much simpler shape. But again, I just wanted to show you guys what the reality of this mask and coming up with this kind of a look is. So I'm just taking my foundation brush with no extra product and I am blending out all those lines, and they come away pretty easily because it's a brow pencil. And then I'm just going to take my powder brush with no extra product and lightly dot over all the areas. So this is the final shape that I went for, and it's just very basic. I wanted there to be a focal point on my forehead and then kind of symmetrical to my nose, and then I just took it in like a curved, tight hugging shape around my eyes. So from here, the mask is pretty self-explanatory. Once you kind of get the shape you want, just fill it in with whatever designs or patterns you want. You can totally just do crisscrosses on the entire mask and it'll still look super cool, but I just wanted to add a couple tiny details, nothing too intense or intricate, just to give it a little bit of variety. But again, it's totally up to you, and there isn't a whole lot to explain for this part, but I just sketched out what I was kind of thinking of and erased whatever I thought was not going to work, like there, and then just outlined whatever I wanted to and then went over all of it with a liquid liner. But I would highly suggest creating your stencil with this brow pencil or any brow pencil, just so that it's easier for you once you do go in with the liquid liner, because once you go in with the liquid liner, you're kind of stuck with whatever happens because it's a lot more intense and it's much harder to get rid of and remove. So definitely stencil it out unless you're super sure of exactly what you want, then hey, go for it. So here I'm starting to create like the cross lines. I only did the cross lines going one direction because I knew that I was going to use the liquid liner, so going in both directions would have made it look too messy because I wasn't trying to be too precise with lining exactly over those lines for the cross sections. But I would suggest doing this just because you want to make sure that all your lines are actually going in the same direction across the entire mask. It sounds super self-explanatory, but when you have all of these other patterns and also your eyeballs, your brows kind of in the way, it can get a little bit hard to keep track of like where what design is going. So just sketch out one way and it just makes it a lot easier. I'm also taking the cross sections over my brows and onto my brow bone because I want it to look like the lace is actually going over my brows and eyes. This is totally up to you. You can just avoid the entire brow eye area. But I just wanted that look because I thought it made it look a little bit more intricate for a very simple design. So here I'm kind of removing all those little swirlies that I had created because I didn't like the way it was looking with the entire mask. So I created these flower petal leaf type things. And again, this is just totally personal preference, whatever designs or patterns you like and you think suit your face. So now I'm taking my NYX super skinny felt tip marker or eyeliner and I'm just starting to trace out the entire design. So one word of caution when it comes to the eyeliner you're using is I personally definitely prefer the felt tip liners because it's much easier to draw and be very precise with. My only issue with this one is that it ran out of ink so quickly, which was such a bummer, but it is NYX, so if you find a felt tip liner you like, just get a couple of them in case it does run out or in case your face makeup kind of clogs it up, because it's definitely easier to get all the precise patterns down. And the other thing with liquid liner when you're using it with a brush, or I'm going to switch to a different one and you'll see, is that sometimes it can be hard to control because whether the felt tip or the brush tip kind of moves according to the shape of your face or just the way the lines are going. Some of your lines may be thicker, some may be thinner, but honestly, don't worry about it. It sounds like a much more stressful issue than it really is because those variations in lines are really just going to enhance the look. It's going to make it look a little bit more unique, a little bit more grungy, and it's just going to make it look cooler. So don't worry about it too much. So here I'm just outlining all the patterns first before I go into the cross sections. I'm basically repeating exactly what I did with the brow pencil except with a liquid liner. So here for the cross hatches, I'm just going to refer to them as cross hatches. I don't even know if that's the real word for them. But when I'm going over my brows, I found the easiest way to create that line, especially because I have darker, thicker brows, is to lay the liquid liner kind of horizontally flat against the brow and to just dab it so that the ink kind of creates a distinct line over the brows. Because you definitely want to make sure that it looks like the line is going over your brows. And here I'm just adding to that little leaf pattern. I just threw in some random curves and dots, and really, again, whatever you feel like doing, it is totally up to you. This was just what I felt like doing. So I added these little designs near the inner corner of my eye, and then I'm just continuing with all the cross hatches. So in my personal opinion, I think this is a great look to do for Halloween for anybody just because it's fairly user-friendly. All you really need is black eyeliner, which if you don't already have, then you can very easily purchase for a very low price in any drugstore. But I will warn you guys that it does take a little bit of time and effort because it is a little more detailed. So just be aware of that, but be patient. To be honest, there was definitely a point when I was doing this mask where I was like, oh my God, this is too messy. This just looks not cute, but I promise you, don't worry about it. Just the nature of this look. Keep going, and then you'll see how I kind of do shading and you add lashes and the whole look just comes together. And I actually ended up really liking the fact that it wasn't super precise, because while the mask is a really feminine concept, I like that it looked a little bit messier and grungier because it kind of contradicted the feminine mask. You know what I mean? But yeah, so just keep going. You can do it. And there are definitely ways to kind of fix how messy or how clean it looks. So right there, if you saw like one of my lines was not really going in the right direction, but I just tried to kind of cover it up with my foundation brush, and then I kind of fixed the angle. But again, things like that, not that big of a deal. So my felt tip ran out, so I went in with this L'Oreal Telescopic liquid liner, and it was great initially because it was super inky and super black, but I definitely do prefer the felt tip because it was annoying to keep dipping into the pot, and also because it came with a pot, it was a little hard to control how much product I was getting out for each line. Like some of my lines were super, super thick and inky, and then others were almost gray, like there wasn't any product. So just a word of caution, the felt tip liner is definitely easier to control than this kind of an eyeliner in my personal opinion. But I'm just creating the cross hashes. There is no pattern to this. I just went in and created crosses at the distance that I felt like they needed to be, and you can see like it starts looking so complicated so quickly, and I love it. So you can see right here, the eyeliner started doing its own thing and I started losing control. But again, don't worry, it just looks like it's part of the look, and the bendy lines just looks like the lace mask is really on your skin. So it all works out and it looks very, very cool. So now I'm going back in with my Naked Ultimate Basics into that deep warm brick color, and I'm shading around my nose to almost create a contour, and then around the edges of parts of the mask just to create some dimension and also to help blend out all the lines so that it all looks kind of grungy and really well blended together. And then I'm going to go in with the super dark shade and just pop that into the crease because the edges of those cross hatches on my brow bone were looking a little sharp. So this is just going to blend them all out together. And then I'm just adding a little more shading near the brow bone because I really like the way it was looking. I wanted to add gems, so these are already like pre-glued gems. I would suggest you can use these or normal gems, but definitely use eyelash glue and dot where you want to place your sticker gems and then put it on top of the eyelash glue because these would not stick onto my skin to save my life. So I ended up just getting irritated and removing all of them, and then I just placed them a little bit more strategically. I also added these small tiny lines on the edge of the mask on the bottom to kind of create the frayed lace look. And then I popped on a couple small gems just down the center where I had created that kind of squiggle line. I'm really using some super scientific terminology here. And then two larger ones on the edges where the flowers were. And I really like this because it kind of looked like I had stuck the mask on from those 2 points. So now I'm taking this Marc Jacobs bronzer on a Dose of Colors angled contour brush and just creating face contour, adding some definition back, a little bit of warmth, nothing too crazy. And then I'm using my New Bunsum Bella lashes, and while the glue is getting tacky, I'm popping on Liar lip liner from Urban Decay and just filling in my lips completely with that shade, and I love this shade. I applied a tiny bit of Benefit Roller Lash and then popped on my falsies and applied mascara onto the lower lashes in heaps. And then I took the same E25 blending brush and the black shade from the Urban Decay palette and just smoked out my lids to create a darker, smokier look. And here I'm trying to even out some of the darker lines on both sides, which you don't need to do, but I just felt like doing for my own personal sanity, but it was pretty unnecessary. And this here is the final look. I love the way it turned out. I hope you guys do too. So leave a comment down below for me and let me know what you guys thought about the look. And that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in as always, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye guys.